Hello everyone. How you doing today? I hope this is all kicking off live well and correctly. And so it looks like it. See, my friend Arno is here in the middle of an air arcade battle. I think I will... what? Ah, I know. I'm going to play as Japan and play a naval battle for you all. Hello, Abraham Lincoln. Yes, I'm here. I'm late. I'm sorry. We're gonna look at some of the, let's use a clever word, craptastic Japanese low-rank vessels. They are really bad, but I'm grinding to get to some of the better Japanese destroyers and cruisers and similar stuff here that looks like they're going to actually be pretty good. So back to here. Okay, this is a nice start point. Yeah, we'll start with this guy. Used to starting, he's pretty bad. And seems to be a pretty bad sailor. These are lightly armored. I think it's like 6mm turrets and bridge building, so sort of overweighting whatever vessel this is. Target. Not leading nearly enough. Well, we'll get there someday as we plow through the seas. Ooh, good job taking him down. Hello, Arno. I saw that you were in game, so I figured I'd play a naval battle or two before we play some tanks. Oh, there was targets over there I was missing entirely. Okay. Ah, there's one. That's going to be hard to... Oh, he's back behind other rocks. Let's go for the bigger target. Man, they've shot this thing up. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Boom. Okay, no problem, Arno. A little better vessel. Much better gun. 76mm gun. Wow, they're already right over in here. Okay. He stopped because he hit rocks. Okay. Boom. Oh, that went right through his bridge. Notice they've improved the damage models on these as they display. Okay, I can't hit them with the main gun. There. What was that? He was shooting at. Yeah, anti-aircraft gunner, shoot down that threat in here. Well, that was a good hit. Didn't take him out, but messed him up. Okay. Repair whatever damage that is. Ooh, good hit right on him. Alright. Leading, and then he turns, of course. Is he smart or something? Other. Yes, I know there's people right behind me coming at me, but I'm hoping my rear gunner can deal with it. Okay, there's a torpedo. He's actually doing pretty good. Can I avoid? Yes! Not that I'm gonna survive long, but... There we go. Boom. Oh, hello. How many hits can these guys take? And there we Turn that down. Well, chat is mostly, I think, you and me right now. Let's go with this guy. We're getting overrun. Yeah. Who else is here? Ah, Patriotic Brit is around. Okay, as you can see, we need more research. No problem, Marno. Take the time you need. Get your range right. Bail out, bail the water out, pump it out, pump it out. Oh, we sunk, we burnt down. Okay. No, you're not shooting that far away. There we go. That's the proper range. See, there we go. Good hit. Boom. A little less leading. Now hit their torpedoes, but didn't blow them up. Not my favorite.
We've captured most of the strategic zones. Most of the strategic zones are captured.
Come on, get the range, guys. Get the range. Yeah. There we go. There's a good kill. LS coming at us. Come on, load. Damn. Too much fire, too many different directions. Let's go with the fighter. Watch Gamer fly. Let's go low. How to pick up speed? Dive towards the ground. How do they take off? You have to pull up. Wow, how did I survive all those incoming fighters? And there we are. On fire, burning, burning, burning. Bail out, bail out, bail out, bail out, bail out, bail out, bail out. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Bail out, bail out, bail out. Oh no, 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 we're burning, we're burning. Bail out, pull up, pull up. Oh no, no parachute. Nah. Plane burnt down. Too many of them over here. Let's sail away. Oh, I'm misfitting everything. Somehow I survived that. Not quite sure how or how long I survived it. Okay, Arna. We'll do naval battles. Maybe we'll do better with two of us. Then we're burning, sinking, sinking, burning, burning, sinking. How can you burn and sink at the same time? You stupid computer. Yeah, watch it go down to the bottom. That's cool. I wish we could go under with it. Go down. Wow, there it goes. Look at that. That's cool. Okay. Let's return to hangar. Ah, we have a few people here. Hello. Ah. I guess we'll invite them to squad. See if they want to show up. As well as with Arno here. He's in Air Arcade, so, well, I don't know if we're going to wait for him. We can see if he's... Naval Arcade Battle. Wonder what level he's playing at. Okay, Arno, I've sent you an invite. Don't know. Okay. We wanted that. Hello, Russian guy. Sorry, I don't read Cyrillic. But you're most welcome here. Okay. Oh, I should probably click into that. Maybe I could actually talk to Arno. Hello, Arno? Maybe.
Hey gamer.
How you doing?
Fine, fine. Just eat dinner.
Good.
Ah, an invite. Yes.
Yes.
What BR do you wanna do?
Well, I'm 2.0 below, 2.0 and below right now.
2.0 and I have the US with 1.7s.
Well, whatever you want to do. I'm trying to work up Japan right now.
And well, you know my German, it's just a reserve one.
Well, whatever you want. If you want to grind that up, that's cool.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm having to do the research thing. Okay, and we have Patriotic Brit here.
Hey Brit.
I don't know if he can hear or see
Oh
us.
no,
Maybe,
why?
maybe he can get on his iPad. Okay, is that pushing us up a little bit high? What does he? Okay,
Oh, only 48 more points for my S38.
good. Mhm. There we go. Now we're ready
Excellent.
to battle. Revoke invite. Yeah, he disappeared. To battle, to battle, to battle, to battle. Great bit. Ready for king and country.
Yeah, for king and country. In my case, literally.
Okay, I'm gonna gonna start with this guy. And I'm gonna start over here near C.
C.
Okay, boom. Get on target, get on target. There we go.
Oh, behind you, gamer.
Behind me? Oh. Target. Hit him in his torpedoes. Hit him again. Didn't take him out.
Got him.
Good. Very good. Very good. Come on, get up there.
Hey, Harry. Got the second one.
Very good.
Are we doing sea battles?
Well, we're doing some sea
Yeah.
battles right now. Hello, Ari. And we're doing very low BR ranking, so if you...
Yeah, I'll join.
Yeah,
Ah, damn it.
Need to work on my
Harry,
ship.
you sound very soft.
oh man, my ship is so messed up. It's on fire. It's, oh man, it's
Oh,
gorgeous
mine
graphics.
too. At least I took two with me.
What
You
nation
did great.
are you playing as for the ship? Oh, Japan. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've got, they let me into the closed beta for Japan, so I'm grinding that up.
So, how are Japanese tiers like? Because you said they didn't have minesweepers till like late war or something like that.
Well, they didn't have torpedo, motor torpedo boats till late war, and so far they suck really badly. So I think they're historical. Now their destroyers and their, which I haven't got to yet, but just looking, looking at them, those look great. But their early
Okay,
war,
where you're getting squashed.
yeah, I'm just burning here. Can't see anything through the smoke. Everybody's laying smoke screens. Seems to be their favorite thing to do.
This is very confusing, but my Discord overlay messed up for some reason, and now it's in the middle of.
Got one.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's go with this guy. Says okay gun. And we're done. Okay, let's go with this guy. No, this guy. I don't know which is Oh, maybe should have done a bomber, but. There's Patriotic Brit flying over us. Ooh, good dive there. Gary, who's sort of watching here, you can see these vessels look like they're pure conversion jobs, and either
Got another one.
completely converted or just built off of civilian lines of stuff. Ooh.
Arming some boats, yeah.
You know, yeah, arming boats or just using, building new stuff, but on the same, style that civilian already producing for like fishing boats and similar.
It definitely looks greatly different from the other tier 1 ships, because most tier 1 ships typically have a sort of machine gun attached to it, but it has more of a...
Yeah. Okay.
So which do you think is better, the machine gun or the cannon?
Yeah. Well, part of the problem with some of these machine guns is they're clip fed, or magazine fed, I should say, and so they're limited magazine capacity.
Another one.
Yeah, Arno's doing really good in his LS boats.
Yeah, how come?
Maybe because you're fighting Japanese,
Ooh, that's gonna be it.
and those, like I say, sort of suck. I mean, they're not. Well, I would say as a group, they are.
And another one bites the dust.
They are the worst so far. I still have a bomb, do I? Okay. Well, I still have a bunch of bombs. Okay. Alright. Bombs. Man, he can turn. I can't fly where.
Damn it.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm no good at flying.
Hey, best squad, very nice.
Hello, my pal. Nice to have you from Poland. Here.
Hey, battle trophy.
Okay, players.
What do you think is a must-have for ships
Must
in
have.
terms of crew?
Well, I like reload speed a lot. For naval crews, which is obviously different than gunners. Main caliber reload speed is important. If you have and eventually everything will, if you as you work crews up, will get AA gunners. AA gunners are really important, but also leadership is always good to have because it helps everything else. Crew interchangeability makes your crew just that much more effective. Overall, ship control is nice for handling. Damage control, putting out fires and that kind of thing is also most excellent. So, and I do need to
How does artillery support work in this? I know it sounds obvious, but it just sounds kind of weird. Ships calling in artillery support for other.
Well, it's. I think you're calling in bigger offshore or off-map big ships.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
like the big gunboats.
Battleships, or depending on what rating. You don't have those for real proper ships.
Yeah.
You don't have that option. Let's see. I'm distributing some crew points here. Sorry, just taking me a moment. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay, so I see all you guys are ready. Yep. Something in Russian, yes. Thank you. Say something in Russian.
Dos Vidania.
Yeah, до свидания.
Yeah, see, you said something in Russian now.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna get this junky little thing just because need to grind it up. Okay, I'm starting at the lower spawn point. Don't know.
Yes.
Proceed. Rusty is about the only Russian word I can remember, and that's just Russian.
Yeah, well, I went to sort of a, I guess what you would call it, a special program in a school for international trade, and we had not the usual languages to learn in school for Americans. There were three basic options. They were Japanese, Chinese, and Russian. And I studied Japanese. Most of my friends in the program were studying Russian. So I absorbed a little bit, but nothing that I remember after all these years.
The most I know about languages are bits and pieces from some of their marching songs.
Right.
What languages do you know, Ari?
Well, I know a little bit of German because they make some pretty good songs actually, and I do have a little bit of a Finnish playlist and like a whole 2 or 3 songs for Russia. Mainly White Russia, to be honest. There's like one song about serving Russia that's more red than white.
And Patriotic Brit was saying he knows a little German, yeah. Well,
Yeah, who doesn't?
Americans are a bit, well, we're isolated here geographically. Obviously, we're being invaded by Spanish speakers.
Oh no, what to do?
And so that's happening. But otherwise, we're so far away from just about any other language being spoken here compared to, say, well, the Dutch. You have the Belgians south, and I know Flemish is very, very similar to Dutch. But then, the
True.
Wallonian French and German, and France isn't that far away, and you got England just across the water. And so you have a lot more contact with other languages than Americans generally do.
We do have a couple of closed off Amish colonies, or well, not really colonies here, but settlements that do speak native Dutch and German and all.
Yeah.
True. They have an entire Dutch city in the US.
And now, but as sort of, if you get from what Ari's saying is they don't interact a whole lot with the rest of us.
Yeah.
I mean, not that if you have a reason to speak to them, that they won't speak to you, they will, but they don't,
They're closed off from technology.
Yeah, so they don't interact with our media. I don't think even read much of newspapers or, print magazines. So they are really, they don't interact with us much. so we don't have their influences, and it's their choice. It's from my view, it's not a complaint or anything. It's just an observation. And I live in such a polyglot of languages now that trying to learn any one of them is silly.
Now, before World War I, we did actually have quite a lot of German-speaking newspapers, but after all the atrocities made by the German army, that sort of died down their little...
Oh boy. Ari, yeah, no, after all the massively brutal propaganda of the Wilson administration, and yes, there were German atrocities in World War I, most assuredly, but
there's also Allied atrocities.
But no, what I'm saying is whether, and I'm not even trying to compare the two, it's just the amount of propaganda that the Wilson administration was pumping into the U.S. System. Most people would find it incredible. I mean, it was probably more than I don't know, more than World War II, but it was a lot. They employed so many people that would go out on the street and make speeches on speech corners, because they didn't have, much. People didn't have radios in their homes a lot in that time period, and obviously they didn't have the internet and television. So they were just doing all kinds of stuff that.
Remember Belgium?
Oh, got one.
Yeah, and so, good job. And so there was just so much of that going on that I think people would hardly realize the extent of all of that. And so, and that really shut down the German communities from being ethnically German to trying to hide it. It was a pretty bad campaign. And there was a lot of government-sanctioned attacks on Germans in America. Burning of German businesses. Attacking Germans living in America, physically attacking Germans living in America, not necessarily killing them, but
so sort of like what happened during 9/11 when people attacked Muslim-ran businesses or something.
No,
like that.
No, they didn't do that. I defy you to find a single Muslim business that was physically attacked after 9/11.
Well, I'm not saying that there was a lot, but there was definitely at least like one.
I defy anybody to find a single Muslim business that was physically attacked after 9/11 in the United States. That's the left's propaganda. Trust me, I was around then. I know what was going on. That's all leftist propaganda. But
perhaps it is. It's been a while since I really read about the whole thing. And
yeah, but it was bad for the Germans in America at that time.
yeah. Oh, sorry. I was celebrating a little bit there. I hit a guy with a torpedo as he killed me.
Good. Taking them down. That's very good. I'm just slowly sailing. Well, not technically sailing, but powering my.
That's definitely interesting. I don't know why, but I always do better in the little torpedo boat than I do in that bigger torpedo boat.
Same here.
I got all of them came from those two.
Got one.
Yes, good.
The Germans should have just hired me to control the Navy. To be on, the entire British Channel would have been sunk with the torpedo.
As patriotic Brit who's probably fuming at that right now, but okay.
Oh no!
I mean, you'll find that you'll never get past our pride of the ship, the Except the Bismarck did that for him.
Oh, you mean you're Robert Ducky? I'm out.
That one's gone.
How are we losing this? Oh, probably because most of our navy is dead. That's why.
And I'm using vessels that suck. I'm sure that's contributing to it.
Emperor Hirohito's rolling in his grave, knowing that you just called all his ships.
No, not all of his ships. It's these little ones suck.
Yeah.
Yamamoto would be so proud.
Hello, Toy Jet. I'm doing well. I think most of us are doing. And goodbye to our Russian friend.
It's kind of interesting that Japan was training so long to do their attack on Pearl Harbor. They had the perfect island and everything. And yet when they did it, they did not do any good.
Not do any good? Well, I would say they did good. They sunk
They
a lot of
didn't take-
battleships.
They didn't. Well, they did do some damage, but they didn't really hurt any of the dry docks, any of the repair docks, any of the fuel depots, or anything gravely important. They all went after the battleships, while all the destroyers and everything like that were perfectly intact to be ready.
Right. Well, you see, that comes down to the Japanese philosophy.
Well, yeah, they wanted to be honorable, have pride, and be like, I sunk a battleship. I did,
That's part of it. That is very much part of it. What the other part is, they very much, as I said this before, they were a Mahanian Navy. So was the U.S. Based off everything off of Alfred Thayer Mahan. And they thought that by sinking all of the capital ships, that they would win the war, not conquer America, but win the naval war, and then be able to, negotiate a peace with the U.S. So they weren't overly interested in doing what you're talking about doing. Just not that they didn't care about it, not that it wasn't on their radar, but it wasn't their focus. They did have plans for a follow-up attack, but since the carriers weren't in harbor, they were paranoid about where are those carriers? Are they going to attack us? So they did not follow on. I'm going to start in the sort of position nearest B and head towards B.
Alright.
Not that you guys have to do that. And I don't know, Toy Jet, if there's enough of us, I would happily set up some... let's start in this one. Custom battles and play some tanks, but I don't know if there's enough of us here to do that. And oh guys, I played in the World War yesterday and won 2 operations for Team
Very
Gamer.
good.
So we are now, we had slid down to 56th place overall. We are now at, last I checked, at 51.
Oh, not bad.
Do you know that, like, a small sort of, I don't know if it's a TV show or purely online, but it's a What Would You Do? It's what,
No, I don't think I know of it.
well, pretty much they have these actors who do things that sound pretty stupid. Like, they had one episode where a person wore a mega hat in a restaurant, actor and the manager, who's an actor, who said he wouldn't serve him unless he took the hat off, and they were basically giving other people's reactions.
Right.
and see what they do in the situation.
Okay, I get the premise of your show. I don't think I've seen it, but I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I think that's why I was talking about the Muslim business earlier, because they didn't have that one segment where a guy walked into like a 7-Eleven or something, and they had definitely a Middle Eastern, Arabic, or Indian, Pakistani guy running the counter, and basically he was saying he did 9/11 and all that. I think that's what I was remembering.
Okay, and that type of thing very well may have happened a bunch of times in the U.S. I'm talking about people going, a group of people going in front of a German business, breaking into the business because it's German, stealing everything in the business, and if it was a freestanding building, lighting the building on fire, and if any of the owners or the owners' families were there, beating them up to putting them into the hospital. That is what I'm talking about, attacking German businesses during World War I in America. I mean, real physical violence attacks. And that was going on. And that, to the best of my knowledge, I defy anyone to find a single incident of that type of stuff after 9/11. Now, a lot of people said a lot of stuff to Muslims. Absolutely. I'm sure it happened. Now, as a percentage of the population, it almost never happened. You know, as in it's less than 0.1% or something. But in the size of America, sure, there were some people that boycotted, or said bad things to somebody who's obviously a Muslim in line at the grocery store, or something like that. Said stuff to people. Yeah, but that isn't attacks. I'm talking physical harm that puts people in hospitals.
What was interesting about that segment of that show, though, is there was an actually like U.S. Marine or U.S. soldier who did a tour, and he came and completely obliterated the guy insulting the cash. I kind of love that.
Uh-oh. Boom, he got me. I was too late to react, really.
That didn't sound good.
Yeah, I got torped. The excuse, or one of the big excuses for putting the Japanese into internment camps, was for the fear that they would be attacked.
Yeah.
And there was
Very
little of that.
They were loyal to their.
Well, and it is common and accepted, and everyone in World War II more or less locked up foreign nationals. So Japanese citizens in America were definitely, as patriotic Brit powers by me in a big vessel and I'm almost swamped. That is a normal and natural thing, is to people of foreign citizenship to be locked up during a war. And obviously in America there are a lot of foreign citizens here, into the thousands or tens of thousands. And then you have a lot more in America than you do any other place, of a lot of recent immigrants that are now citizens. That is something that is much more common in America than, especially during World War II, than any other place. And so you have a lot of that. People were rightly incensed about what happened at Pearl Harbor. I think that probably 99% of Japanese businesses would have gone out of business had they not been forced out of business anyways by the government. I just don't think people would have gone and bought things at a Japanese grocery store or at a Japanese restaurant or anything. And on that note, probably, well, maybe all of you, no problem, Toy Jet. Have heard of Chinese fortune cookies. I don't know if people in the Netherlands know about it, but Americans know about it.
Yeah, we know.
Okay. Well, you know, there's no such thing as Chinese fortune cookies. And Chinese fortune cookies are made with a Japanese recipe, because the cookie dough is Japanese, or the thing is that it's a Japanese cookie that a Japanese American came up with, and oh, oops. Let's see, if I call them Chinese fortune cookies, maybe that will work. And so it was created by a Japanese person, and sold to America as a Chinese fortune cookies, but no one in China has ever heard of them. And everyone who, it was created by a Japanese person using a Japanese cookie recipe that it was the creator's idea of putting a fortune inside of it and whatnot. But that is a World War II situation.
Wouldn't be the first time the Japanese tried to use a Chinese name to get.
So yeah, and so things like that, no business in America that was Japanese was going to survive through World War II. Just I'm not even, and most probably would not have been physically attacked, but just the idea that no one would buy anything from a Japanese business or anything like that.
As soon as I spawned, a torpedo was right in front of my face and it hit me and did no.
Uh-oh.
And then the match ended. That was a series of unfortunate events. I nearly got my S-38.
Very good.
Hopefully it's better than the S-30.
It's not a bad one, the LS3. Once the machine gun is in range, woohoo baby.
No, Patriotic Brit. The Clemsons are later vessels, and I do believe all were used by the U.S. During World War II.
Didn't they send a lot to Britain?
Well,
Was it
Brit
not-
just asked, Patriotic Brit, I just asked if the Clemsons were part of the destroyers for bases. I think all of the destroyers for bases were World War One destroyers, and the Clemsons, if I'm not mistaken, I can quickly come over and.
I think the game just called me Odin Salt.
They're a. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Look at the HMS Churchill. Okay, let me quickly go over and look at that. Okay, yeah, that is a Clemson here. I don't know. Wow, okay, I'm previewing it right now. Well, it's highly modified from the American ones. You have a centerline mounting of 3 torpedoes. Much improved rear gun situations. I'd have to look at, yeah, that's obviously, so obviously you got some, so maybe those are destroyers for bases, but I thought they were, I have to look this up now. Sorry guys, Patriotic Brit, no,
What's wrong?
no, I'm just, nothing's wrong. I gotta look up Clemson destroyers and. Yeah, I'm CLEM. Right. Let's look at this up. Thought I knew. Okay, okay, they were all built between 1918 and 1922. They built
Wasn't one in the Saint Nazaire raid?
I'm not sure. Let's see. We can look at the list of them.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna look up some history.
Yeah, I'm looking up some history here because I thought the stuff was earlier. Because 1918 obviously is basically being built at the, once the war is basically over. Correct. Looking through the list here. Okay. Royal is okay. 1, 2. Okay, you got several of them. Okay, and I'm seeing here the Harridan is the HMS Churchill, and then it gets turned over to the Soviet Union, Patriotic Brit, that vessel, and it's called the Dientelnia, which is sunk in the 16th of January 1945. So that actually serves in, well, actually sort of 4 navies: the U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard, and then the Royal Navy, and then the Soviet Union. So
I posted a very strategical meme.
well, Oh,
Who would win a girlfriend or the SMS list?
Slesian. Yeah. Okay, and what is... Okay, and Toyjet is jumping in here with 19 were transferred to the Royal Navy in 1940 as part of the Destroyers for Base Agreement, where they became part of the Town class. Others were upgraded or converted to high-speed transports, high-speed minesweepers, destroyer mine layers, or seaplane tenders, and served throughout World
Airy.
War II. 4 Wick-class DM conversions and 4 Clemson-class DM conversions survived to serve in World War II. Okay, thank you, Toyjet. Toyjet is adding to this. Very good. I did not know that many Clemsons were converted over to that. The U.S. Was using them in significant numbers early in the war. I think as time goes on, you can look at in the British aircraft tree. I think it's an American plane. Okay. V56.
Have you heard about
V56? Oh.
Have you heard about the Korean soldier who fought on D?
Yeah, they made a movie about him.
So
I forget his name.
I do too, but he served in Japan, then got captured. I forget by who. I think it was the Russians.
Yeah, it was by the Soviets. Yeah.
Then captured by the Germans to fight on D-Day. That was one hell of a ride if you're from Asia all the way to Western Europe.
What type of aircraft am I looking for? I saw the... Okay, above the Blenheim. That helps. Okay, let me see if I can find the Blenheim. Bombers. Okay. Oh, yes. That could be an American. I don't know. We can look at information here. Mm-hmm. History. Yes, it's a Vought aircraft, originally an American plane, designed and built to meet United States Navy order for the Scout bomber for carrier use. So yes, that is an American aircraft as well. Yeah, for all the valiant and hard fighting, the as soon as Ares ready, we'll go back in. Valiant and hard fighting the British did, they could not have won in World War II. I don't know if they could have survived without America.
Basically been like a Napoleon sort of.
Yes, that you're very right, Ari. That's the kind of I'm thinking that I don't know if Germany. I'm going to start in the leftmost starting point. I don't know that Germany could have invaded and conquered Britain. I don't know if they could have pushed them to the point, of sinking convoys to force them to negotiate a peace. They might have been able to do that. I'm not sure. But I really don't know that Germany could have, successfully conquered, invaded and taken over Britain.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So they might have been able to, starve them to a point of negotiated peace. Germany probably would have called that a surrender, but without any German occupation of Britain. Maybe, giving Egypt and some of the Middle East to Italy or something like that, and giving some of Asian colonies to Japan as part of the peace agreement. But I don't think... But Britain had no real ability to defeat Germany, even with the Soviets entering the war. If it was just Britain and the Soviets with zero American help, if Americans were totally, no arms to nobody, no nothing to nobody, and just completely stayed out of it, I don't know that, because I definitely believe a German versus Soviet battle, Germany wins. Just those two nations, and any other sort of minor nations that are literally in the way. Germany wins, in my opinion. Adding in Britain, it definitely helps, but I don't know. So I don't think with just minor German help, I don't think Britain can defeat Italy in the Mediterranean. Britain was doing well in Libya against the Italians, but the Italians were underprepared. And it's one thing to say, defeat them with being an underprepared, and then putting maximum effort in. Would they still defeat them? I don't know that they would have. But they could. Now, I don't know, could Italy have re-invaded Libya? I don't know. Because how do I put this? My understanding is that when Rommel first shows up in Libya, in Tripoli, Britain is moving on Tripoli, but Britain is also very overextended. So there's no guarantee that Britain was going to be able to take Tripoli. They might have, because things happen in war and commanders surrender, and that type of thing does happen even when they shouldn't. Feel like the thing I'm driving now is going to just sink under its own weight. And somebody drops a bomb on it before I get anywhere. Yeah, go take B, Brit. I don't have any speed to get there. I'm just hoping to get to the enemy.
Every time a minor inconvenience happens, I just want to go like that one clip in the movie and just go like 9999.
Ah, the Hitler movie. Yeah.
There's
What's
about
it called
20.
again?
There's one called Downfall. I think that's the one I'm also
Yeah.
referring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That one got parodied a lot.
Very nice area.
Not my best, man. There was a semi-recent movie out, I think it's still on Netflix, called Look Who's Back, where pretty much Hitler wakes up in 2017 or something like that.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It's
Haven't
all in
seen it.
German, so it's a bit hard for us to understand. It does have subtitles. It's interesting to say the least.
And I'm sunk. Okay, yeah, let's go with this. Good job on capturing C. Now I have a decent boat.
Who are some people that you personally think changed history?
Well, immediately I can come up with Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar. I mean, those are obvious. Oh,
I always
Oh.
fancy myself a bit of a Bismarck kind of guy. He changed a lot of history.
yeah, well, how changed history? Obviously, any political leader, you know, in charge of a country that makes almost any decision changes history. And we're knocked out. Boom. So, yeah, that obviously always happens. There's Patriotic Brit driving his dark class. I guess this is a gunboat. No torpedoes. Changes history, but you know, yeah, obviously everybody, Hitler, FDR, Stalin, they all did it, but
If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
changes the massive direction of history, I guess, is sort of how I take your question.
Yeah, that's sort of how I'm giving it, and I still sort of think Bismarck sort of did that, because imagine how differently the world would be if Bismarck didn't, well, do what he did, because Bismarck did so many things for Germany, and is the main reason
Okay. Now, I totally get you, and I'm not trying to say he wasn't a massive influence, but I guess the question is, would Germany, within a
We've captured most of
20 or 30 year period of the time that it happened, would Germany have become united more or less anyways without Bismarck? If he died of some disease before he before he really becomes Bismarck as we sort of know him, would Germany have still been united? And even if it was united, would it have been dramatically different without him, in some way?
I mean, Bismarck did sort of betray Austria a little bit in the Holstein sort of event.
No, he
Bismarck
you see,
start a war between
the Habsburg monarchy was anti-nationalistic and did not want to see Germany united, and obviously was based in southern Germany, if you will, Austria. So he was definitely having to go against the Habsburg Empire, most assuredly. I wouldn't call that betray. That was just, he was if nothing else, something of a, yeah, and a patriotic Brit is saying Vladimir Lenin changed history. That was another person, but on Lenin's case, would the Russian Revolution have happened without Lenin?
I mean, actually, not many people know this, but there was actually a temporary revolutionary already happening in St. Petersburg before Vladimir Lenin got there. He actually overthrew another revolution.
Well, the Mensheviks, yes. The Mensheviks, absolutely. And so this is, and...
Did you get him?
We're currently watching Patriotic Brit flies aircraft here. So, and of course, Lenin would not have done what he did if the Germans hadn't sent him into Russia.
Fly high, fly high.
Well, that's not very high. That was more like trying to go under the water, flying. But I think we just... Oh, well, maybe we've turned this around, but it looks like all of our team is dead. So, yeah, so I just... Philip II, Alexander the Great's father, more or less, not entirely because he doesn't quite get Sparta under it, but more or less unites Greece for the first time. And so... but that's just Greece. It's Alexander that brings on the age of Hellenism. So I look at that. So change the direction of history.
Well, we can return to hangar.
Yeah. Would the Second World War have happened without Hitler? I think it might have.
Well, the real question is, which political party would rise up without Hitler leading the nationals?
Right. And because I could see a rearmaments party coming out of the German National Party.
I could also possibly see some sort of just widespread nationalist party trying to do it. Not like National Socialism, but just pure.
Stalin changes history. Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, that's what Patriotic Brit just. When you guys are ready, we'll go back in. Actually, hold it. Do you guys want to go over to tanks?
Oh, I
I mean,
like this
I'm
one.
down for whatever.
What was that, Arno?
Oh, I like the naval ones.
Okay, well
But of
then
course
we'll stick with naval.
It's up to you
No,
guys.
no, no, no.
Of course.
Trotsky was supposed to be leader of the Soviets. Yes. Now, that's Patriotic Brit. Okay, ready up, guys. We're doing more naval.
I mean, technically, he sort of got a point there, because if Trotsky was leading the Soviet Union, everything would be so different. Because Stalin was more of a communist in one nation sort of guy, while Trotsky was like spread the world revolution.
Right. Okay, and see that obviously, like say every major political leader that even just not going to war has an impact on history. Would the Soviet Union under Trotsky have been dramatically different to the effects of the world, not just within the Soviet Union, but to the effects of the world than Stalin? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about Trotsky, and I don't know enough about what
The only main
what would have
difference
happened,
is the only main difference I really know is that Trotsky was for spreading the revolution. Stalin was more like, let's keep it at one state. Let's keep.
Well, Stalin was most assuredly trying to maintain control of all communist revolutionary parties under his control. That most assuredly is true. Where Trotsky probably would have allowed a lot more decentralized control of the parties outside of Russia, at least. So
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like Trotsky would probably not try to conquer, but instead try to puppet, in a sense, Instead of conquering the Baltic nations and just conquering 11% of Finland, I feel like he would try to instill a communist regime into them and make them their own principality, sort of thing.
But would they have would say, let's say there was a Baltic Revolution in Estonia. The Bolsheviks get in power there, but would that have been successful enough for them to rule, or would it have required, would there have been a counter-revolution, or whatever you want to call it, enough to require Soviet direct intervention, so de facto doing what Stalin did, because needing to maintain the revolution? And I don't know that. See, I don't know how successful, because I look around at all of the revolutions post Stalin, under Khrushchev and other things. How much the Soviets needed to maintain control in all these little places like Cuba, in Africa. They needed to keep cadres of foreign loyal troops in there to keep them from reverting or going off the path. And I see that going on so much of the time. It's rare that you have a Tito who maintains a sort of separate, independent socialist state outside of, I guess, China. And so I don't know what would have happened. And this is what you always have to do. Look at what people have in theory or in their idea of what they want to do, and then what historical circumstances forces them to do. Because I can tell you, no, well, yeah, I don't really think really any American presidents want to invade other countries. It's just history happens and they feel compelled to for whatever reason. They don't just wake up and go, I want to invade Mexico. No, there's other things going on that pushes them to.
Have you heard of the Führerreich?
The what?
Führerreich.
Führerreich?
Yeah, mod for Hoi 4.
Oh. I think maybe,
Pretty much.
maybe even you mentioned it to me, Ari, but I haven't looked at it yet.
Pretty much, Teddy Roosevelt won World War I. As in, his Bull Moose Party somehow won the election, and Germany just looks a lot different. I don't know the full lore of it, but it's definitely kind of.
Right. Interesting.
For some reason, America owns that Baja California sort of strip from Mexico. I don't know
yeah.
why is that, but
Now, like I say, you know, if you do good alt history, if you set up a turning point in history, because I'm very much a believer in turning points. The Versailles Treaty is a turning point in history for sure, and which sets up World War II and what happens with all of that. And that's definitely a turning point. And it isn't just Wilson in it, because there's a lot of other influences with Versailles. And I could easily, so if you were going to make a mod for Hearts of Iron 4, say, that is based on the idea of what if something different happened at Versailles, then I'm with you on it, so long as, you know, it's...
what if Versailles didn't change Germany to a republic and it stayed a constitutional monarch?
Yeah, and even a defeated Germany, you know, not Kaiserreich where Germany wins, but a defeated Germany, but with still a Kaiser in charge. Yeah, and if you set up that premise and try to logically work through the what ifs of it all, I'm good with playing a game like that explores that kind of stuff. Because I know we were talking yesterday about why I don't play more of the alt history stuff. So if you were to logically come up with stuff like that and make it good enough for me to think that it holds logically together, you know, it isn't utter fantasy of impossible things, then I'm good with trying to play and explore that, because that's quite honestly what I want to do with why I study history. Is I don't just study to know, well, how many people died in the Battle of Gettysburg? Okay. Or what general commanded what flank of what thing? Of course, we obviously know Pickett's Charge because it's named after him. But, you know, but I like the what ifs of, well, what if Jeb Stuart hadn't been sort of wandering around with his cavalry, not in communication with Lee, so, you know, what if Lee knew what was going on and had better prepared for, you know, instead of a sort of a haphazard meeting that Gettysburg was, you know, had it been Lee organizing things up and sending in units in a good manner, or withdrawing appropriately, or whatever else, and fighting a good... I like that idea of what if you do something different for the Battle of Gettysburg, so long as we are using the forces that were available at the time that are realistic. I love that kind of thing. So that's why I like to wargame, is to wargame out other reasonable
What if the Confederates marched on Washington after winning the Battle
of Manassas, yes.
or Manassas?
And so that I actually have the war game Battle of Manassas. I've played that a lot, and that is a, obviously a big what if politically. What would have happened? Would the Union have accepted Confederate independence or not? And we have that politically, but also militarily. And so if we're looking at that kind of what if history, I am fascinated by that, and that type of things. Those type of things are to me of great interest.
What if the Catholic League won in the Protestant War? What if the papal?
You're breaking up a little bit at the end of that. What was that? Catholic League.
What if the Catholic League won the Protestant, the 30 Years' War?
30 Years' War, right. Yeah, well, if you had a really bad situation for the Protestants, that would change European history. I don't know if you can put the genie back in the bottle with Protestantism.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely going to be some huge sort of revolts happening.
And so,
The biggest...
I don't know whether Reformed Catholicism that got rid of a lot of the abuses that were part of Martin Luther's 13 points.
99.
Well, 99. Sorry, I'm probably thinking of something else. But yeah.
Yeah. You're thinking of Winston.
Okay. Yeah, and so, and solved some of those things and just sort of did Catholic Reformation, but still be essentially Catholic. That would have probably pulled, I don't know what percentage, but probably a big percentage of people away from becoming Protestant. They would have just, oh, hey, yeah, you solved the problems. We're with you. This is cool. It was,
I feel like...
it was the abuses that we were more concerned with, and the Protestants didn't have those abuses, so we went with them. So then you would have had a smaller minority diehard Protestants that quite possibly a Jesuit type oppression might have been able to stamp out. Yeah, that could have happened.
I feel like a big what if in history is, what if the Pope actually kept his power?
Kept it. Just so you know, Ari, for some reason at the end of your sentences, at least for me, your microphone sort of clips out.
Yeah, it's same here.
Basically, what if the Pope was able to keep his power?
Well, he did keep his power. What?
No, like, when the Protestant Reformation happened, the papal influence just instantly died, and a lot of people stopped taking the Pope seriously,
Right.
or
Okay.
didn't take him as serious.
Right. Okay. I think I get what you're saying. Oh, my guns are jammed. How lovely. I think guns jam a little too much in this game. Yeah, that would have been different. Now, part of the problem with all of is, Borgia popes and other popes that are definitely not living up to,
Pope Innocent, first example.
yeah,
Which is kind of ironic, because his name is in.
right, and so you have a lot of that type of situation, that was causing the problems as much as anything else. So yeah, that would change things. How do I, let's see, I'm always worried about what people who are going to want to take things that I say the wrong way think about what I'm saying, but in the West, there is the tradition of, because it isn't quite completely, a separation of areas of influence, shall we say. In the East, in the Byzantine Empire, the church is under the state. So the power of the church and the state are much more integrated between the two. Where in the West you had the settings up with, say, Pope and Charlemagne as two different power bases that, I don't want to quite say separation of church and state like we think of it in America, because that was definitely not the thing, but religious authority and secular authority were two separate, not always equal, it varies on who is more in charge, different things, where in the Eastern Empire the church is sort of under the umbrella of the state. And so I see this as more common in Eastern. Oh, sorry, I haven't been reading. Yes, I want a Lord Halifax becomes PM alt history, patriotic. And that was one of my things that I was thinking about. Okay, I guess we're returning to Hangar because I guess we're all done. One of my alt histories that had come to mind that I hadn't mentioned. So, had you had the Pope maintain control, I think in the West you could have seen more of a theocratic over control over yeah, that's good, I guess, over political and secular affairs happen, because you had those two powers in conflicts, in balance, in action going on. So that could have been a very different thing for how the West develops. And because
Another thing,
yeah,
nothing I thought of is, what if the Spanish Armada didn't just instantly die
yeah,
and actually win the battle?
yeah. Had Philip be able to move his army from the Spanish Netherlands at the time over to I'm starting in the lower position. Don't know that that's the best, but that's where I'm starting. Over to England, that would have crushed England's army, and there was still a lot of Catholic support in Britain. So that could have turned out very differently. I don't think it would have been a situation where I think the Habsburg Empire was getting too big as it was, and I think it would break apart anyways, like it finally did. So I don't think we would have seen a Spanish England. We would have just simply seen a more Catholic England. You guys
You
killed him.
just killed that poor.
Yeah, you killed him before I could even get my shot off.
Literally everyone
There's
fired
your
at him.
second chance.
Oh, we got another victim coming around the corner. Come on, get on target.
Oh, crap.
He's got a big gun.
You know, this time I at least got a shot off at him. I haven't hit him. Oh, no, I hit him. Yay.
Very good. Ooh, oops.
I got a kill assist.
Allied forces have captured the zone.
Are you going full speed ahead there, or
Yeah.
are you in serious?
No, this thing is pathetically bad. I'm really glad that I'm grinding with you guys because you're keeping me from getting overwhelmed instantaneously.
My little German ship is like 10 times faster than your Japanese, and Germans don't even specialize in ships.
Now this is really like some sort of fishing boat or something that's been armored and converted up, so
Harry.
it moves really slow.
Harry, I believe an aircraft is diving on you.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Maneuver, maneuver, maneuver. Come on. Don't get target fixated. No.
There are two very big ships around that corner.
I
would
see
not.
you. Damn it.
Use torpedoes. They're not very big ships, but they're bigger boats.
They're definitely bigger than our little
Yeah.
water boat. I think they actually got cannons. We might have
Oh!
been up
One
to
is like listing very badly and going down, the other one's gone.
I got the one
Oh.
with the torpedo.
Great, great, good job. Okay, the one listing is down. Okay. Yeah. Oh, my bridge isn't not working right now. Oh man, I'm loving these graphics, guys. Oh, there's a little bit of a problem there. I need to fix that one. When you sort of hear the bombing squeal of a, siren bomb dive thing, do your best to turn in some direction. Don't keep going in the direction you have. Just do a massive turn. And yes, I get that from a real torpedo boat captain. I have an HE-111 flying over me who just kills me because my little thing doesn't turn. But he crashes. Yay, cool.
Someone got him.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Now I'm taking out my almost ship-like thing. Not quite.
We really need to get World of Warships.
Nah, we're not doing World of Warships. For a couple of reasons.
Holy crap.
But I think I have better. I don't like World of Tanks, and I've been watching some World of Tanks play. I don't think I dislike World of Warships as much as I dislike World of Tanks. And obviously you can play whatever games, and I'm not suggesting you shouldn't play games. I'm just not going to set up and do that because partially the time it's going to take to grind stuff up.
Oh,
And I got bombed.
you're in half.
I rammed into some.
So that, as well as because I'm a Gaijin partner, I get so much more benefit out of dealing with Gaijin than I'll ever get out of trying to deal with, World of Warships. So that, just be honest with you, that's part of the reason why not. Now, if you guys want to play it, go ahead, play it. Individually or as a group. I'm not suggesting no. I'd have to really see something be significantly better than what we're dealing with here.
I saw the thing coming.
Yeah, and if you notice, I did start to turn, but obviously too slow, too little.
The thing is so slow, man.
Yeah. Let's take a fighter. Well, one thing about doing these Japanese boats is they're so slow they last long because they don't get into any combat. It takes all mission just to get to the front lines. They really do suck bad. And this is why Japan they still of course may add France or whatever to the naval tree, but why it's the last one, at least so far, is because Japan just has almost nothing in low tier that's of any good. And when you're developing something like this, and of course you're starting out with low tier stuff, no one's going to want to play a sucky low tier nation. I think that's the last of us.
Yes, I'm out.
Okay, I'm heading out too. We need HMS Rodney. Well, Patriotic Brit, I think that will happen at times, yes. Like the Yamato. Hello, Jonathan White. Good to have you here. Yes, they are going to do more ships. I have it on reasonably good authority that they will be adding most things to the ship tree in time. Not necessarily every single variant of every single ship, but all of the stuff, and all the way up to the biggest battleships. You know, the Yamatos or the Bismarcks or whatever it may be. Get up to that. And, you know, Rodney and whatever. So they're going to do all of that in time. I think they're smart in doing it in stages. Okay, so we need to help Patriotic Brit get... He needs more stuff. So as soon as you're ready, Patriotic Brit, ready up, we'll go in. And we'll get your next... Up you go into your next one. Yes, no, Clemsons are actually pretty good. I like my Clemsons that I have in the tree. They're very maneuverable. So many times I've watched a bank of torpedoes coming at me, and I'm able to weave in and around them with the Clemsons more than I'm able to with some of the bigger destroyers. Now,
Very cool.
They do have very limited armament on them, especially very limited air armament. So... that is...
Where do we start?
I'm starting in the lowest position down here, near sea.
Close to sea, very close.
And so, partially because I have really slow boats, and so it's going to take me forever. So that's why it may be good for you guys to go out and capture A if you got a fast boat and want to race out there and capture that. But the mission would be over by the time I get there. And I'm trying to work my way up to at least get to the destroyers here. And so, and not that I have any, I do get into the dev server and they do talk about things a bit, but not that I have any real special inside info or anything. They did try in-house try to make the carriers fun, but they just couldn't figure out a way to make commanding a carrier fun. So I don't think carriers are going to... I don't think there's any plans of having carriers in the game that are not AI controlled. I could see on an open sea map or something having an AI carrier, whether it would be a mission where the AI, sort of one of these escort missions, needs to get across the map, and you're operating destroyers to protect it from air attacks or surface attacks or whatever. So I could see carriers, as well as having, taking off and landing planes from a carrier. I could see that happening, but I don't see it players commanding carriers. And submarines is the time scale, because if you were to start a submarine out at the edge of the map and it's under the water, it's going to take forever and never get anywhere. And if it would either be too and if it did get somewhere, it would be too powerful if it could spam out torpedoes after torpedoes after torpedoes. So it need to be sort of realistic mode, and just one set of torpedoes, or what, the normal loadout, so that you want to really make sure of your shots, and that's almost a whole different game. So I'm not thinking submarines are likely to come into the game, but maybe more likely than a actual human-controlled carrier.
I feel like my machine gunners are drunk or something. I don't even think they fired once in that engagement.
Okay, you do know on your left-hand diagram of your ship, there is on the right-hand side of it, there are sort of three symbols. One has your percent of crew alive. Normally starts out at 90%. It goes up from above 90% as you get more crew survivability. That you can increase that. Then it has your bridge control. Then above it, there's this sort of target symbol with an air and a ship normally selected. That, and you can, and I have to look again because it's been a while. There is a key to cycle through that. If you cycle it to just focus on ship targets, they will engage enemy ships first and be much quicker on target to get enemy ships, because they will be looking for targets on the surface. So that does much better, not that their skills are any better, but they're paying attention and getting onto targets faster. Or you could put them just for air targets, and they will just look for enemy air targets and not pay attention to any surface vessels. They will again engage enemy aircraft much quicker, much better. Or you can have it balanced, which is the standard. So part of the problem is they're looking for an air target and there's none, so eventually they decide, well, maybe there's a surface target, and then it's too late. So so if you want to manage that early in the battle, like now, it would be good to have it set up to only deal with surface targets. But once you start getting the air operating...
So how do I change?
No. Sorry, I have to look in between missions or figure that out. Oh, well, I can do it right now that I'm dead. Okay, controls. Oh, I may have changed mine too. Ship. And of course there is a way, it's Alt and then the number to change if you want to operate your different sets of guns. Oh, I gotta get back in. I'll look in between. Continue anyways. We're gonna resume. Okay. Don't want to lose the battle. I'll look in a moment. And so it's something so you can get that. And once you get that, that'll happen a lot better. Good job, Ari.
All these teamwork bad.
And I think the other guy kills me.
I got revenge, don't worry. I killed
Holy
him.
crap, teamwork
good.
times 8.
Eye for an eye, too. I guess he killed me, too. At one. I got 5 teamwork badges from.
Nope, been jammed.
Is that no, that shouldn't be us though. Yeah, Arnold's still.
I'm still in.
I'm still
Arnold's
in.
always alive.
Yeah, we know.
I'm the designated survivor.
Yes. Somebody's got to tell the tale. And best squad.
Yay.
Okay, let me figure out what it is here. Okay, and complete the rudder.
Does playing as a plane in this actually help you in your aircraft?
Yes.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So you are slowly grinding up with that, or maybe fast, depending on things. Okay, let me check. Controls, ships, which one? Yeah, I think it's left shift. I think is what it is.
Left shift to change target.
Yeah, go. It's aiming mode, and I also have it set as delete here for me. I think is what it is. And then you can also see select primary, secondary, and select anti-aircraft, Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3. That is, so like if you have a big primary gun on a vessel and want to target, but hey, that's okay, but you really want to, have your rapid fire gunners under command because you're being swamped by a bunch of LSs, you should like maybe swap over to command your secondary weapons, and then it will put it over to AI crew control for your primary weapon. So it would still fire, but what it thinks is best for that. So you can select through them if you wish.
Apparently, toggle gunner targets is E. And naming mode.
Oh, it's E. Okay, you're right. Toggle gunner targets. You're right. It is E. Okay. Okay, no, you're right about that. That is what we're looking at. Okay. So, thanks for the correction there. Okay, as soon as Patriotic Brit figures out what he wants to do, we'll go in.
I find it kind of odd that the British person's always the last one on the name.
Nah, but he's the one not in our Discord server as well, so, and he's getting my voice delayed. There we go. When he gets his computer working again, it'll be better.
Fiji Island.
Yeah, I don't think they actually look like this.
Yeah, I have a feeling Fiji doesn't look like this one bit.
I'm going to take my slow boats up the middle, but maybe you guys should go take one or both of the flanks.
Back again.
So, you might not want to follow me.
There we go. I have my people targeting ship.
Right. And just so that once you get air operations, you should either move it all to air or have it, multi-targeted. I think the bias when it's for both. Do you want to fight, Harry? Patriotic Brit.
That kind of courageousness led to the hood sink. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I think the answer, Patriotic Brit, is yes. So maybe we should set up a custom battle, and have you two go at it while the rest of us come in, but stay neutral and not engage. Have a duel here. So we're gonna.
What's going on?
The Royal Navy is the best Navy, he's saying.
Nope.
The Kriegsmarine is clearly the best Navy. I don't know.
God, no, Kriegsmarine is not the best Navy. Not. The Japanese.
I say the Soviet Navy. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know that. We knew by your answer that you were kidding, but
The French Navy is clearly the best Navy. I don't know what y'all talk.
It wasn't a bad Navy, the French Navy.
I would say the best three navies in the war were the Royal Navy, not in this order, but I'm just giving three of them. The Royal Navy, the American Navy, and the Japanese Navy. The Japanese Navy was a very good Navy. It just was let down at some of the sort of high-end technical elements, like radar and some other technical design elements that...
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
That shows the British Navy right there. He just featured himself.
No, he's actually sitting and waiting for me. Oh, there's a torpedo coming straight for you, Patriotic Brit. Boom, sorry.
I think
No, he was
the
not
German
beached, he was just
for its
parked.
size, I think for the German Navy for its size, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't a bad Navy. That's for sure. And the size, if you add in all the U-boats, this gets pretty large. So if you're looking at size and numbers of battleships and no carriers, I mean, yeah, they had a carrier that was in, partially completed, but not any sort of real, even anywhere near completion. It could float. It did float eventually, and then the Soviets were floating it back to
Oh God,
the Soviet
I beached
Union, full
myself.
of war trophies probably a lot of really good historical stuff, and it hits a mine and sinks, if I remember my history right on that. So, but yeah, the German, you know, so in battleships and that kind of thing, obviously it's very small and it was reasonably good. But if you add in the, you know, all the U-boats and E-boats and other things, it gets to be a reasonably good sized navy, and I don't think it's that great. Its command elements aren't that great. Yeah, they do. The submarine commanders, they do well. That's for sure. But it's, you know, not surprisingly well or anything like that. And
I managed to stir up some trouble on their spawns. I did a good bit of them.
And the effectiveness of the sailors just is not, you know, I don't know that it's any better than the French Navy is, you know, how well the sailors are trained. The Italian Navy is actually rather decent, and it was the sort of the high priority armed forces in Italy, actually. Most modern, very well trained and developed. It was much more of various command levels not wanting to risk engagements that kept the Italian Navy from doing much. But it wasn't the, you know, joke that, shall we say, the Army was.
Can someone tow me, please?
Did somebody get over and help Arno? Somebody with a boat faster than mine? I get over there for next mission. I don't know if anybody can get there. Maybe you want to abandon it if you have another boat. Boom. Well, let's see if I can get to you in this relatively fast vessel. You have a countdown clock going?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I
And
get
I'm
that.
being bombed, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the bomber come in.
JU-87D.
Aircraft.
The Pacific Navy was a backwater. Yeah, I don't think so. It was such the backwater that as soon as Britain could, they demanded to operate in it. Garrick Royal was a carrier. Yeah, we need somebody to cap A. Yeah, go for either A or B or something. Don't go into the middle of the mess where I'm going. Probably a bad idea with that LS right now.
I guess that first match I had was just a
Well, there's a lot of tactics to this. It's not just how fast you're able to, twitch and move, which obviously does help, especially at these low rankings.
I don't know why, but every time I'm in a fighter, everyone gets super lucky and gets my pilot knocked out immediately. And every time I'm shooting at an aircraft, I don't even.
Rudder replacement next.
Hey, I got the S31B. 38B.
Very good. So now you can improve your... No, not
Oh yeah.
back to that. Yeah. Improve your operational choices. Problem with the Iron Pacific is that it was overshadowed by the home fleet and the Mediterranean fleet. Didn't get much support. Well, yeah, but I'm sort of thinking about 1945 Patriotic Brit, that the Royal Navy insists to come and join the Pacific Fleet and operations against Japan. And the Royal Navy was almost incapable. Almost, not quite. Because they were like, yeah, are you capable of extended duration deployment? Oh yeah, we could stay out at sea for like 2 whole weeks. And the Americans are like, and I know I'm getting this wrong. What? Your ships can be at sea for 2 weeks? What? Try like 3 or 4 months. Yeah, that's when the war in the West was over, absolutely. As soon as you're ready, Patriotic, but I know you're typing, but we do want to get back in. So, yeah, and so the British Navy did basically whatever it was longer than 2 weeks, but it was like 3 or 4 weeks or something was like max time at sea for their fleet operation. That they almost double it, but still it's only like a third of the. I don't remember the exact length, but only about 2/3 of the time operational time between base visits than the American fleet, and it really, really pushes the British fleet to keep operating. I'm going to head towards B, again in slow vessels, but you might want to do something else. So it just, and it's partially, the Japanese Navy and the American Navy were designed for the Pacific War and designed for long-range operations, where the British Navy was designed for a global presence, yes, and it was designed for a global presence, but it was also designed to be always operating near its naval bases, because it had naval bases in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in India, in Malta, in Alexandria, in Gibraltar, in South Africa, in the Caribbean, in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand, and I could go on and on about more significant naval bases, at least ones where you could get coal or oil, get food, get, basic support. Maybe not like dry docks for a battleship or something, but, basic operational support. It had so many more bases around the world, so it didn't have the idea of needing long-range independent operations, where the Japanese and the Americans were specifically designed to do that, to go out there, operate. Both fleets were thought to be able to operate from either Japan to the American West Coast or from the American West Coast to Japan. Nobody was relying upon, say, Pearl Harbor as a requirement for naval operations. This is why if you look at a German standard U-boat and you look at American standard U-boat, you'll see the American standard U-boats are much larger, generally longer as opposed to bigger or round, had much greater operational range. Things like in the American U-boats, or submarines I should say, they had showers on board, and they had refrigeration plants, things on board to keep food well, so that they were designed to operate out for much longer periods of time and keep the crew fit to operate. Now, the Japanese did not have that levels of luxury on their submarines, but neither did their surface ships. Japanese sailors were heavily deprived of life-sustaining elements, and it was brutal to be a Japanese sailor. On a lot of vessels, there were, like destroyers, there was no sleeping accommodations for the Japanese sailors at all. They just, hey, sling hammocks wherever you can sort of find spaces. Just randomly around the ship, in there. And obviously the crews worked out things, but they were not designed to have, like, oh, this is sleeping quarters area. Nope. It was just like, hey, is there a spare area on board ship? Yeah, let's sleep there. And never enough space for the size of the crews. And it was brutal to be on board their vessels. Well, I hit you. Probably wishing you still had a torpedo. Now that you rammed me. Come on, get on target. Boom! Destroyed him. Yay! Finally destroyed something in this guy. He really does suck. Bigger vessel out. Got him.
I wish they had tonnage in this mode,
What do you mean by that?
as in the tonnage of the ship, so I know how much tonnage I've sunk.
Oh, okay. No, that'd be
That would
cool.
be
That'd be
cool.
cool. I see that readily. Oop, he's gonna get me. He's gonna get me. Yes, he got me. No, that would be cool. That's something I think I'm gonna sort of request about that. Not just numbers of kills, but tonnage of what you've sunk. I think that's something you could be implemented on, or could be implemented.
Going in for the straight front.
Oh, I got one. I can't turn with it. And takes out that one. That is a wacky fighter. Oh, it said I had a soft landing. Guess the crew's bailing out.
Whoever that fighter was probably just saved my life.
Alright,
Now it's on to capture B.
great.
We've captured most of the strategic zone.
Even with almost the entirety of my boat in this sort of dark, shady yellow and the incomplete back of it completely black, I'm still going faster than the S-38B to my right.
Right. I'm sure you're going faster than my boat.
I'm going 94 kilometers an hour.
Oh, I'm going 26.
Oh my god!
I'm flank ahead, 26. I feel like go get lunch and be back before I get near enough to anybody to shoot at them.
I think if you're lucky, they'll just think you're like some sort of weird tank that somehow caught freaking water.
Yeah, but unfortunately I don't have armor like a good Soviet one. Yeah, so far I think it sucks. Patriotic Brit. And these, because they're mostly, this is like got to be the thing that I'm driving now, got to be some sort of converted fishing boat. These are all desperation stuff. Once I get to the real test will be once I get to the destroyers, and then I think I'll have. That's why I sort of think it's worth grinding for, is to get to the destroyers to have something interesting to sail there. This is just sucks, and I'm not rich enough to buy Golden Eagles to insta work my way up. I did sort of. Good job, Arno. Though I see you crashed.
You could always set up like a Patreon or something.
Well, I don't want to do that so much, but I did sort of hint to Gaijin that, hey, yeah, I'm going to start making, obviously I'm making, well, live streaming this now, not technically making a video, but it will be up there for people to watch. Start making videos once I grind up to some good ships, so if they wanted to give me, hinting if they wanted to give me Gold Eagles or give me access to the ship, they could technically give me access to the ships.
You could always try to get like a code. You know how other YouTubers, they get codes from guys.
Oh yeah,
no.
They gave me the code for the Japanese beta for free. Yeah, no, they're really good to me. Trust me, they've given me a lot. It's just I'm hinting for more. But yeah, no, they are really good. I'm at the sort of lowest tier of partnership program of what they support. They have, I think it's like 3 or 4 tiers, and I'm on the lowest one.
Got one.
Very good.
No.
First
Nice.
aircraft kill as a freaking.
Very good. Those LSs are pretty good, just because they don't have much. And there goes Arno racing by. Don't have much to hit on them. I would suggest, especially if you're going after low tier stuff, quickly spam out your torpedoes so that they're not potential bombs to blow up. I don't think they move any faster with or without torpedoes, though obviously they should move faster without them, but still I would just keep firing them sort of where you think there might be an enemy, just to keep that from being a danger to your own vessel.
Very good. Oh, battle trophy.
Yeah. Let's see what I get.
Well, I got 2 propellers done. Okay, and yes, the
I got a free modification.
Oh man,
F1 M2.
S1, S38 depth charges.
Yeah, why not? Cancel.
Great.
Well, that's kind of nice. They gave me dry docking for free. Can't complain about that.
That's good.
Is there a way to make my gunner better? Because he is very wide in his.
Your main gunner?
No, the secondary guy who
Make him better?
controlled by.
Yeah, there is. Look on your crew. Down on it. There's a improved crew.
Oh yeah, accuracy.
Yeah, that's it.
What would it be considered though, an AAA gunner or not?
Well, it depends. They eventually you'll have as you work the crews up, to like a destroyer level or something. You'll have primary gunner or primary guns, which are meant to your main guns. You'll have secondary guns, and then you'll have AA guns. So obviously, like with the LS, there's only the main primary gun, so there's no secondary gunners. There's no AA gunners. If you're on a particular boat or whatever, you can sort of hold over, and it will tell you if that boat does have secondaries and what they are, and if it has AA and what they are. So, but eventually on bigger stuff, you will get all three. So, you know, figure out what you want to do. There we go. Okay, propellers, that will help out. Improve range finding, or do we want to go there? Well, I want to get engine maintenance, so we want to go range finding fast as possible. And also range finding.
I don't know what happened. My Discord sort of just went bonkers.
Uh-oh. Well, we're hearing you.
Yeah.
Ah! Patriotic Bits letting us know he forgot to mention that he got a reproduction 1800s British pith helmet. Just what you need. And you should always be wearing that while you're playing with us.
What?
Pith helmet. You know the tropical sun helmets?
Oh, those things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the colonials. I'm not sure whether he means something that looks like it's out of Zulu, or whether he means more the colonial type that's a bit broader. Don't know which one. Because there's the two types. But, yeah. Should be wearing it. Like if anybody owns a Pickelhube, or however you pronounce it, the German spiked helmet thingy from World War I and before, they should be wearing that. I've always wanted one of those.
Then I should wear my Dutch 1940 helmet.
Right. It's a tan-colored one based off of the Sudan campaign. Okay. The 1880s. Cool. I had I don't know if friends maybe slightly overstating it, but a guy I knew who ran a reenactment group specifically of the Sudan campaign, and they were doing everything specifically to that particular campaign, you know, uniforms, dress, everything, reproduction, but he had a proper Gatling gun, was sort of the big main thing of the group. And it was, I think less than 8 people in the reenactment group, but everything was historically correct to that campaign. And
You mean the hand cranked one?
yes.
Ah.
He had that. He offered me a boy's anti-tank rifle, but I just didn't have the money at the time to buy that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, 50 cal. It was actually chambered down to 50 cal instead of the 55 caliber. 50 cal is the largest the Americans can have. But otherwise, it was a boy's anti-tank rifle that he had, and I was so tempted, and I just didn't quite have the money to get it. Okay, I'm coming around towards A. I maybe should have said, but I'm going to be forever getting there, so don't wait for me. But yeah, so he was an American, but very much interested in that sort of mid.
Are those tank turrets on your ship?
Well, they're little armored turrets, yeah, but not specifically tank turrets. They have like, I don't know, 6 millimeters of armor or something. And the bridge is armored again with 6 millimeters.
Much.
So any real sort of gun that you guys have on your boats will penetrate it, but your rifle caliber machine guns will bounce off of some of the critical bits on this thing. This thing just sucks and is more comical than anything else, but just grinding my way through it. So yeah, so he was into all of that stuff. And ran a pretty good reenactment group. Doing the British fighting the Fuzzy Wuzzies in the Battle of Omdurman, however you pronounce it there. Ah, I've got an
Yeah,
escort.
escort gamer.
Yes. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Patriotic Brit. Go fight. Win the battle for us. Don't stay back with me. No point in it.
You guide others to a treasure they cannot possess, which is an actual battle.
Come on, get on that target. Get on that target.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Okay, I've got a torpedo coming out towards me. Good. Now I'm at 28 kilometers an hour that I had my propeller upgraded.
I was defeated by a Japanese boat, which had a man standing on top with what looked to be like a grin.
Yeah, it's probably a 25 millimeter. It depends on which one it is. Another one, there's a 20 millimeter clip fed, or magazine fed, I should say, machine gun there.
Gamer, did you hear Trump is coming to Holland?
What was that?
Trump is coming to Holland.
Oh, Trump is coming to Holland. Ah, no, I hadn't heard.
It's about what was it again? Battle for the Scheldt.
Oh, right. So I know he's over there doing the D-Day stuff. And well, are going to be going, you know, for in Britain and D-Day commemoration and whatnot. June 6th.
75 years ago. Yeah. What the fuck was that?
Yo, see, can you please? I get that you don't like the German Kriegsmarine and all that, but you don't have to try to destroy my boat.
Hey, patriotic Brit. Don't overrun the little German.
Yeah, I actually flipped my boat over. I should have by all game logic.
Holy crap.
I was flipped and everything.
He says, "Excuse me. You crashed into me."
I was in front of you.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
And I get taken out with artillery. Boom.
Torpedo dead ahead.
Oh, I killed myself.
Yeah. If
I
How
launched
can
a
you manage
torpedo.
that?
well, if you launch your torpedoes or depth charges too near you, you can blow yourself up. You know, if the target, like if you're point blank on an enemy ship and you fire your torpedoes, they'll blow you and the enemy up.
Well, you know, that sounds like a Japanese move. I probably shouldn't be doing.
Right.
That's what you get of saying these things about the British Navy.
Yes, we were the only ones basically defending A.
I defended it by doing Sudoku, I guess. You know,
Seppuku.
seppuku. Now the ghosts of my enemies are coming back in airplanes to hunt.
God damn it.
And I get bombed before I get to do anything. Okay, I'm gonna go in a fighter since there's a lot of aircraft around here.
I think that's classified as bullying when you just can't even do anything and they're still just targeting. I've killed a lot of aircraft.
Yeah, that's good. I'm coming in to give you some air cover here. Oh, let's see if we can go after you. Okay. No, couldn't hit him.
I feel like Samuel Jackson when he's saying there's too many damn snakes. The only difference is there's too many damn planes in these.
Yeah.
Threat in the air.
And then my voyage has finally come to an end, killing 3 ground air targets. But now I get to roam the sky. It's not a loss, it's only a loss if you consider it lost. I'm pretty sure Erwin Rommel said that, or some other German general.
I don't know.
I can neither confirm nor deny that's what we said about it. Mainly because I don't know. I mean, technically we won in the body count.
Nah, that doesn't mean we won.
I mean, that's how we said we won.
No, we lost. We didn't achieve our objective. That is how you determine if you win or lose.
on it.
Okay, U.S. the hippie back in the U.S. You lost. Well, yeah, patriotic Brit. It was. Well, what were the goals for Vietnam? And you're absolutely right. Whether it's the hippies or just generally speaking, the American will to fight was, and it was definitely a, shall we call it, a fifth column. Not so much, you know, there was some bombings and there was some of that stuff, but not so much a violent fifth column, but a propagandistic fifth column back in America that deals with it. But what was the objective of Vietnam? Well, it was to protect the South Vietnamese government from a communist takeover. That was the objective. That didn't happen. I mean, that, you know, they, I've known some people that respected Westmoreland because they fought under Westmoreland, but Westmoreland was not the American general to fight for it. We were playing checkers. The North Vietnamese were playing chess. Meaning we kept, as you talk about body counts, and Westmoreland was all in it. We killed 25 pawns today. We killed 25 pawns today. We killed 25 pawns today. And they're going, yeah, but we have more pawns. We have more pawns to put on the field. It's the, you know, taking out the king and winning the battle. You know, winning the war. And
There actually, one thing that was surprising to me that I learned recently was that China and North Vietnam did not actually have that great of relations, and
oh no, they went to war at least twice, or went to active combat operations at least twice, if not technically to war.
And that has a lot to do with the past, because of how China sort of always pictured Vietnam as itself, and surprisingly, the Soviets were able to supply more equipment to them than actual China.
Yeah, no, Vietnam was more of a Soviet client state than a Chinese communist client state. While there was an active Vietnam War going on, China fully supported North Vietnam. Old Some Island China claims, yes, that's part of it, but it was also a border claim, border disputes, patriotic Brit between the two of them, that they fought over. Because I was, within the last year or so, talking to a Vietnamese friend of mine, or a Vietnamese American friend of mine, who goes back to Vietnam about once a year for, you know, a good 20 or 30 days. So he spends time there. Was talking about it. He was actually sort of surprised that I knew some of the stuff that's going on. And oh yeah, no, the Vietnamese don't particularly like the Chinese. They don't have the, shall we say, deep hatred that the Chinese have for the Japanese and what was done over that. Well, I guess I'm starting in the southern position.
That's one thing that I don't like either, because no one remembers the Japanese atrocities of the war, or no one holds Japan responsible to.
Yeah, that, no, Ari, my parents, particularly my mother, very much does. My grandparents very much did. Now, I don't know, that may be the perspective of being West Coast Americans versus, you know, sort of more, this is going to sound weird, but Central Americans, not, you know what I mean, people from the middle Americans would, I guess, be the better term. Maybe, but there was great dislike over Pearl Harbor and what happened during the war, you know, to our captured prisoners of war.
I'm not referring to that. That wasn't the war crime I was referring to.
Okay, what were you talking about?
I'm talking about the rape of Nanking, where they killed Chinese people for sport and actually awarded their officers based on how many...
Yeah, and that is still a very, very big deal in China. Let's see, my Nan's first husband in, something POW camp, yes. They censored part of what you said there, Patriotic Brit, but I got it. So, yeah, that did get some play here in America at the time and after, but it's not as big a deal for sure. But people were tried after the war for it, and people died after the war, you know, were executed on charges of that. Yeah, what really does, and like I say, there was, and I'm talking, this is into the 1990s, and my parents are still alive today. I know in a minute. Okay. Well, please don't get us demonetized by going too deep into the war crimes, Patriotic Brit, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to know about Union's 747 or something like that.
But, yeah. You're right, it's something like that. A friend of mine was, before he was died, was writing a book on, well, more a friend of my dad was writing a book on that. Wrote some articles I know that did get published. Is that the Japanese political structure was largely intact after the war. Sure, they you know, execute Tojo and some of the main actors, but the overall political system with the emperor, who did approve of not so much the war crimes, but did approve of the aggressive war, you know, going to war with China and whatnot.
I actually heard that apparently in Hirohito's near the end of his Bible, he was horribly ashamed of what he did and what.
Yeah, probably. But how much of that is being ashamed of what it did to Japan and his responsibility for that than what it did in the crime situation? Meaning, supporting going to war and having your country destroyed. Because he supported, trust me, he supported the war. Like I say, I don't know how much, because he was isolated from knowledge of things, but he did get briefed by people that he trusted and was told things that by these people that they thought he needed to know. So was he told of Nanking and what was going on? I don't know. You know, that to the extent of what was going on, not that it didn't happen or didn't happen, but you know, was it minimized or was it you know, fully explained of the level of what was going on? I don't know at the time. But he definitely, and maybe at times reluctantly, but definitely approved of the general overall policies that were going on for, you know, aggressive war and that type of thing. You know, the idea of that we're launching aggressive war against China, against America, against Britain, he approved all of that. That was not something that was hidden from him or he didn't know about. And so he definitely, and he could have stopped it. There, at some point, Tojo becomes too powerful, too hard to stop until Japan is losing bad enough. Then Tojo, because you got to remember, the last like 6-8 months of the war, Tojo's out of power. They've deposed him and put somebody else in power, but still fighting the war.
We need to hold,
What?
we need to hold it.
Yeah, we need to hold A if we can, but I'm moving there at 32 knots or 32 kilometers an hour.
Wow, that's nearly like a fourth of my speed.
Yeah.
You're getting up. Hello.
Yeah, you're zipping by.
Goodbye.
So, there's definitely culpability there. And so, since he was not removed, there's a continuity of government, where there is not a continuity of government from the National Socialist regime to either the East or West German governments. There is no continuity of personnel, of policy, of even government structures. There's none of that in Germany.
There's about 2 at A. Heavily damaged. Well, yeah, he just died.
Oh, my anti-aircraft gunners just got a aircraft.
We cannot lose C. We lose C, we lose this. Something tells me this match is gonna be lost.
Yeah.
Oh, best squad.
Yeah.
Don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I clearly carrying.
And
I got professional ×5. That's pretty.
very good. A much better battle trophy that I don't care about.
What did
I
you
got
get?
Shadow Strike.
A percent off of a buying a premium vehicle, which I don't care about. An A7HE1, whatever the hell that is, a Japanese aircraft, I presume. Well, you guys are doing great.
I don't
Evenly?
know. I'm a lot better at ships than I am at anything else.
Yeah. And if they're censoring Japs, oh, there's a controversy of using Japs in War Thunder. So they were censoring that because they're worried about even more so with the new Japanese tree, and supposedly there's a bit of a controversy going on. There's a bunch of the War Thunder moderators are big into Japanese manga and that type of thing, so they don't like to use the term Japs, and they think it's a racial slur. It is not a racial slur. It is just Japs, and it's appropriate for this time period.
It's like calling an American a Yankee or a Yank.
Well, a Yankee possibly, but I would sort of use it to some degree as similar as Nazis. Calling Germans in World War II Nazis, even if they weren't in a Nazi uniform, they were just in a German army uniform. Well, they're the Nazis. These are the Japs. Are calling Brit a Brit. Yeah, that is, and there is a bit more invective in America with using, especially back then, the Japs. I don't know if they would they censor Nips, because they're Nips, they're Nippons, and Nips is actually somewhat putting the sort of group possessive on it is not entirely correct, but Nipponese, that's something weird. Scroll. Oh, it was part of a gun close-up thing. So I sort of defy modern sensitivity on Japs. It is not like using the N-word. It may be equivalent of using the word colored. One of my grandfathers routinely called black people coloreds, but in his day, and he was not a racist, but in his day, it was the polite term, or one of the polite terms, to call black people coloreds. And he did not mean it, think of it.
Speaking of that, this is a bit of interesting trivia, but in my home state,
which is your home state again?
Kentucky.
I
Our
thought
home
so.
state would basically we have the state song, which is "Oh Kentucky Home," and in it we would say "darky,"
Right.
or that was supposed to be a nicer term for a African American back then. That what actually happened is pretty interesting. We had I forget which position he held. We had a black governor or something like that, and these Japanese kids came over to visit, and they sang the state song, and apparently he was offended over it, which is it's normal because you don't want to be called a darky when you're
right.
Well, yeah. So they actually ended up changing.
Yeah, and now darky, because of the kind of thing, does have a bit of a diminutive term, as opposed to where colored doesn't. We are sort of waiting for you, patriotic Brit, again. Going to the toilet. Be right back. Okay, we can wait. Just if you have something to do, do it. But yeah, there is definitely a diminutive.
What's
darky.
interesting is it was actually meant to be an anti-slavery ballad.
Yeah, and I get that, but it is sort of a patronizing term. Trust me, a lot of the people in the anti-slavery movement in the North and other places still thought of black people. They thought of them as people and should not be slaves, but they were racist and thought they were lesser people.
Yeah, and I agree.
You agree that that's how they thought of it, yeah. And so yeah, and that's how it was viewed then. And so they were trying to use what they considered polite terms, but they were still somewhat condescending sort of terms. Where I look at, yeah.
Well, for the time, this was written in 1853, or at least published.
Right.
Darky was probably one of the most polite terms you could use. I don't think colored was used that.
No, I don't think color was, but I don't know if they used blacks or other terms. No,
Still horrible, but it's a lot better than calling him a certain.
Yeah. Now the N-word, and again, because I don't want to, actually comes what was originally not meant to be a negative term. Because it is just a bastardization of French for black. Because we have Nigeria, and we have Niger. And Niger is just basically sort of black. And I was taught, and I'm going to say this very carefully, in my one black studies course taught by a black African woman in university, there is a commonly used term in Africa for sort of Africanness, if you will, is called niegritude, because it sort of has that, but it's from a French-based word. It sort of means blackness, niegritude, and it's the most literal translation into English is blackness, but it's more.
I'm actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post one of the first verse of the original.
Right.
Just so you can get a scene of the lyrics here.
Okay. So yeah. So and it comes, and so the N-word I think comes from Anglo-Americans either hearing coming out of Louisiana. French or other French terms for blacks or whatever. So I think blacks was used back then. I'm not absolutely sure. And so it wasn't really meant at start to being a derogatory term, but it has come to mean that. So I don't want to use it. I don't want to offend people. But that is different than Japs. Now, you also have to realize everything is in context, and just because somebody else does something bad doesn't mean you should do something bad. But you have to realize what is the polite term, Japanese term for white people. Does anybody know it offhand?
What was
the polite term for white people in Japanese?
No.
Not a...
Gaijin.
Doesn't that mean foreigner as well?
Well, that's what they might tell you what it means. It means southern barbarian. They're calling us barbarians. It's not, they wouldn't call a Chinese or Korean or other Asian. And it's sort of southern because they came from sailing up from the south, the original Portuguese and Dutch Europeans. And so instead of barbarians from the north. And he's back. Cool. So we're going back in.
I don't know if you all had the chance to take a quick look at the first.
I haven't read it, but yeah. Oh.
It only says it once.
Right.
And basically it says they're happy. They're gay.
Right. I'm going to start. I'm going to start in the sort of one closer to B this time.
It's quite obviously we changed the lyrics of that
right.
quite a.
And so, you know, if a people still only has, you know, calls us Gaijin, which, oh hey, Gaijin, do we Yeah, there's a company called Gaijin who makes War Thunder. If so they're being overly sensitive, where their own culture really wouldn't be offended. They might not think it the most polite thing to say to them, but calling them Japs. But it isn't a racial slur, in my opinion, and it's only wacky social justice and oversensitive types that are going for it, and especially in World War II context.
If Japs is a bad word, then Rip Spike Man Jones' songs, they're all gonna get copyrighted.
I don't know the songs.
You don't know Spike Jones?
Not that I'm associating it with anything. Maybe if I heard the songs or something, I would.
You're a sap, Mr. Jap. You don't know Uncle Sammy when he fights for his right.
Oh, I have heard that, but I didn't know the name or put that to anything. I have vaguely heard that in some stuff, but no, I really don't know much about it.
I managed to actually get a kill on this thing without dying. Consider that a
Yay.
world record. What kind of ship is that?
One.
It's literally just like a square box floating in the ocean. They call that
German.
sh-
Oh, the flak ferries. Is that what you're seeing?
Those are good.
Do we get up tier to those?
I guess we did. Because I saw a very square looking box with 4 deadly turrets.
Yep. Oh, we got up tiered big time then. 'Cause
Oh, that's very bad.
light AA ferry. Those have 4 flak guns. Oh, you don't even want to go anywhere near that. It'll just kill you.
The 4 quadruple 20 millimeters.
Yeah, they're 4 flak per lanes. They're at this tier. They're just it's slower than I am, but it's just super deadly.
Someone got it.
I'm not moving anywhere. I don't know. Where am I not moving anywhere? Oh good, somebody did. There are, if you have high enough tier, there are some stuff. We need to drop artillery or bomb it. Yeah, no, it's gone. Patriotic Britain, I don't have any artillery, but yeah, that's a good way to deal with them. Okay, now I'm moving again. I don't know why.
Got an R41, that's pretty
Ooh.
and I got killed by a 45.
Oh, hello.
1945. I'm sorry. What? I thought we got up here. I didn't know we got up here to the last. Was there a 1945 ship?
Alright, well. And I get bombed by a Soviet something or other. Okay, well, yeah, this other ship is better, faster.
Oh, I got torpedoed out of nowhere. That was scary. One wrong turn and I just got fucked.
I'm really beginning to more and more hate this political correct age we're living in. I think it's actually dangerous.
We shouldn't find offense in anything but land.
Yeah, it's postmodernism wishing to deconstruct society so that they are going to find offense, like you say, anything that they can to simply use, well, maybe eventually violence, but sort of non-violent revolutionary tactics to
Non-violence, but Antifa exists.
and so that they want to disrupt society, anybody with any power or influence. So it's revolutionary methods straight out of Mao's Cultural Revolution, and it is dangerous.
I don't even think the worst part's the political correctness. I think is the fact that people want communism.
Well, and I'm not going to disagree that people want communism, but I think it's more than that. It's wanting to it's postmodernist deconstructionism of society. Whether they and it's going to be some sort of leftism, but whether the political economic system is going to be communist or not, I'm not sure on, because it could very easily become corporatist for the right woke corporate style of companies like Google and whatnot, and it may end up with sort of almost corporate type rule. But what we're seeing is, gender is fluid. Gender is what you feel. No, gender is you have boy parts or girl parts. That's what you are. Yes, there are some 0.1% or something of people either born with defects or actually get surgery. Okay, those people, they don't easily fall into the category of male or female. But everybody else is male or female. Forcing us to not acknowledge the realities, because once you do one not acknowledge of reality, oh well, no, it's this because we say it's this because we say this, and then we go Arbeit macht frei, work makes us free. I don't know, where is that famously put? Arbeit butchering it. Arbeit macht frei. Where is that? Can anybody here say
One thing
where that's from?
about the gender thing as well. The Boy Scouts just kind of died.
Yeah, the Boy Scouts are over. Boy Scouts are over. When they let in girls, that ended the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I don't even know what it was. It was at least 1 million or so parents who pulled their children out of it. At least 1 million.
Yeah, no, it's over. But which is work makes us free. Arbeit macht frei. That's over. Dachau. That's under the entrance of Dachau. You know, and if you go, hey, freedom is slavery, war is peace. Now those are from 1984. Once you go down to this road of not acknowledging reality, not acknowledging scientific reality of something simple, we can argue over whether the planet is warming or not, or we can argue over what's the cause of the planet is warming or not. Those are real questions. But we're no longer arguing over, is the sun the center of the universe? Or is the planet the center of the universe? We all know it's not. We all know, and yes, I think 99% of the flat earthers are simply trolls, if you will. They know the freaking planet is round. They just want to be trolls or whatever. And so,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, anti-vaxxers exist.
Okay, anti-vaxxers, I think a lot of them are honest, misguided people. And even a lot of the anti-vaxxers believe that vaccines work. They just believe that they're dangerous. You know, it's a different than not acknowledging reality. Because you can go, hey, yeah, vaccines are dangerous. Don't use them. And since we're not getting these diseases that we used to get, you don't need to expose your children to the dangers of vaccine. And maybe, let's just even for the sake of argument go, vaccines are dangerous. Well, what is more dangerous is if not enough people are vaccinated, then these really horrible diseases come back for everybody. So they thought...
Yeah, like
they
recently a measles outbreak was coming back.
Right, and so they thought that the danger is past, and that so they don't need to, and because either possibly bad vaccines or just even how vaccines work, which is sort of exposing your body to a sort of dead version of the disease so that it won't, spread into your system, might still cause negative reactions, might still not cause the disease, but cause your body to have negative reactions, maybe even cause autism. Maybe. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying I even think it does. But let's just go, it may be causing autism. Yes, okay. But if we don't vaccinate people, we're going to have all these horrible... The bubonic plague is maybe coming back here in LA because we have Democratic rule in LA and Democrats like the bubonic plague. Well, no, but they like the conditions that cause the bubonic plague. So if we don't get the vaccines to things, we will have horrible diseases that will come and affect many millions of people. So that is maybe denying scientific reality in some cases, but mostly just trying to make a ill-informed, rational decision. That's different than saying, nope, the sun goes around the earth, all those stars are just bright lights at the edge of the universe, there are no other suns. No, we know that the reality that, there's a galaxy out there, then outside of the galaxy there's a universe out there. We know this is real truth. And to try to deny that is no longer in question. Well, that's what I feel they are trying to deny when they're saying gender is a social construct. Male and femaleness is what you identify as. No. Men can dress up as women and women can dress up as men, and if we want to be polite to them, we can call a woman Mr. if we wish to be polite. But that does not mean that they are men. That does not mean that they should be, if men are claiming to be a woman, that they get to use a woman's restroom just because they're dressed as a woman. No, that's not the reason why they get to use the restroom, what you're dressing as. And they also don't get to, men don't get to compete in women's sports or other similar situations. So, yeah, and so I see these dangers that they're doing. And it's becoming more and more real, and more people are accepting it. And yes, I can't move or turn fast enough. And so I am a reasonably tolerant person. I would probably call people what they wanted to be called. But if I'm referring to World War II Japanese, I don't mind calling them Japs, because that's what I'm referring to. If I'm meeting a Japanese person, it's not like, oh, wouldn't you be willing to call them to their face? Well, if I was meeting a World War II Japanese person, I would be willing to call them Japs to their face, because they're the enemy at that time. But not a modern Japanese person isn't my enemy.
There's this thing called, that they made up, by the way, color gender, a gender associated with one or more colors and the feelings, use, emotional, and or objects associated with that color. So literally, you can just pick a color and that's your gender.
Oh my god.
And yeah, part of this is ridiculousness. And there is I believe there is a real thing called gender dysmorphia, which means basically you don't believe you fit into the gender in which you were born. Now, traditionally, it is thought to be a... no, I've not been to Dachau. I don't know if I would go to Dachau or Auschwitz. I'm not talking well today. That was Britt asking that question. So... you know, I'm a relatively tolerant. Gender dysmorphia, and the idea is to correct gender dysmorphia through through psychoanalysis or other psychiatric help, as try to work through your feelings. And I remember recently, within the last 6 months, some sort of musician, is famous as something, but I don't remember who it was. Not that famous or not my type of music. So he made some sort of statement. Sometimes I think like a woman, he says, as part of his statement. And my thought to that was, how in the hell do you know what a woman thinks like? If there is just a way women think that are different than men. How could you're a man, how could you possibly know that you think like a woman at times? Now, maybe you think like what you think a stereotypical woman thinks, but how do you know? Because you're not a woman, you're a man. How do you know? Maybe you think differently than you normally do, because maybe he normally thinks like a man, and once in a while he thinks like a woman. He thinks differently. But maybe he's thinking different than normal men, and maybe it's still different than women, how they think. So you don't know how women think. Oh man, this map again. Okay.
Yay.
Yay. So yeah, people's genders and their roles are a real and a serious issue. But like I say, is once you get rid of the idea of fixed definitions of things like gender, race, or history, or whatever, slavery or freedom is slavery, and war is peace, and so you just start redefining everything to whatever is convenient for your ideology, your corporation, your government, your whatever, and I see it as very, very dangerous. Why did we all spawn in one spot?
There's this one quote, I forget who made it, I think it was some sort of Greek philosopher, but he said, through war we find...
Again, you're dropping your last... What is...
Through war we find peace.
Okay, through war we find peace.
I forget who said it.
Yeah, I don't know specifically that quote. I can't claim that I've ever heard that before. But now, there is, if you want peace, prepare for war. That is a Latin quote, I'm pretty sure. Para bellum et pacem, or something in Latin. So meaning if you're Switzerland and you, Tenno Haka Banzai, someone's saying, no, Nani, whatever. They're going on. Nani is what? Tenno, well, of course, we got Banzai. Shindano. Okay, you're losing me there. You're Japanese. I get some of it. I did have 3 years of Japanese, but yeah, I've forgotten a lot of it. So yeah, so I feel that there's real cultural and social dangers going on. And it's really starting to disturb me. More so than a lot of the... I'm coming to think that nonsense, shall we say, because it doesn't make sense, is the real danger over, oh, Medicare, free Medicare for all, or something. Yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's so free that we had to up your tax rate by like 15-20%.
Yeah, and now, of course, that's only the people that are paying taxes, because half the people don't pay taxes. Or income taxes. They pay sales tax and other tax, and payroll taxes and similar things. But and I'm not against the idea of medical care for people who economically need it. I'm not going on a complete free market requirements here. But the idea of just having Medicare or Medicaid for all is a bad thing. For many, many reasons. And we could argue that out, but I think that if they were to implement something like that, people would then realize it's bad, and then...
I think Quebec is proof enough why free healthcare doesn't work.
Yeah, but even just that it's bad, not that it's not the best economic solution, but just that it's... but
you really need a family doctor if you got free healthcare, because other than that, you're not getting seen unless you got a family.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff like that would meaning just the whole thing is a bad idea, not just what's cheaper or more efficient. Especially if you look at the scale of America. If we were talking about, hey, we're Luxembourg, we have one hospital, I'd probably go, let's just have government paid, medical stuff, because we have one hospital or whatever, for a little country like Luxembourg. I would probably...
I mean, they're already a tax haven.
Yeah, no, I would probably be 100% for free healthcare for Luxembourg. Now, I don't know if I would be for free healthcare for Denmark. Yeah, I would consider that. I'm not saying no to it, but I'm not saying yes to it. And so if we were just looking at the state of Rhode Island, and, Ari will know how small Rhode Island is, we might go, yeah, maybe for Rhode Island, maybe. But probably I wouldn't be for it, but maybe. But for the United States, God, no, it would just be a horrible thing. So whatever your British NHS supporter who believes in, National Health Service, yeah, and you believe that it's worked well for Britain, well, maybe. I think other things would have worked better. Because people can talk about all the good that it's done since World War II. Yeah, the question is would something else have been better? And we don't know, but because something else wasn't tried during that time period. But I know for the size and scope of America, an NHS would be a god-awful, terrible thing, and whether it costs more or not. But that is, in my opinion, a bad thing, yes, but not the worst dangers, because people could realize it's bad and change it. But with this new sort of cultural, social revolution that we are going through, I feel is a real danger. Especially if you add it to Google, Facebook, and other powers of communication. That's the real. It's not like, oh, I'm in monopoly, I own all the railroads, because as we can talk about and have on the railway empire. Okay, but they didn't own all the newspapers. They didn't own all the book publishers. So they don't, like Google. Google can just remove something from its search engine and it disappears. So they can have the truth removed from the search engine, and the truth disappears effectively for most people.
I mean, people were already complaining about Alexa, the difference between Jesus Christ and
Right, and that is part of the issue, most assuredly. Well, that seemed to work. Dodge that bomb. Now, guys, it's time to go for C.
dang. Patriotic Brit has a nice plane, and I'm stuck with the vibe.
Okay, Patriotic Brit, I'm probably going to be ending the stream too after this. But I want to check out what day the next World War operation is going to be, just to let you guys know. Obviously, love to have you there for it if you can make it. But so. Let's first just check on that to see before everyone goes away, hopefully. Well, there's only just a few of you here, but damn, he was a good torpedoer, and he got me. Going in my one fast thing. Okay, bye, Patriotic Brit. He's saying it was great playing. It was uplifting playing with all of you.
Great playing with you, Patriotic.
It was very good.
Okay, I'm going to race towards C. This is actually going 99 kilometers an hour, so this is actually racing.
Whoa.
Oh, it's locked down. Damn, somebody's going after A, so we need to Hold here. I'll see if I can get to A. And we got our mission.
Yeah.
Okay, dry docking, nice. Definitely a help. Auxiliary armament, okay. Research, okay, and primary armament.
I got my ARP.
Okay, the next.
R41, nice.
Good. Okay. 1 day and 19 hours is the second Battle of El Alamein. 5 days and 19 hours for the Battle of Khan. And that's it for this, I think, season are currently scheduled. So in 2 days, that would be, what, Tuesday or so. If I'm not doing anything terribly important, I'm going to try to be commanding some operations in the Battle of El Alamein. So if you guys want to show up, love to have you there.
Would be cool, yeah.
So, but obviously, if you have anything real to do, go do it. You know, don't disrupt your life.
Do we get any prizes at the end, do you think?
Well, if you're in the top 20 of squadrons, you get some prizes, I think, and I don't remember what they are, and you could sort of dig them out, look them up. So we're right now 51. I think I can push us to a bunch of victories, and it's really helpful to have more of you here to do that. And so I'm going to hopefully get some of Toy Jet's friends to show up too. But I don't know if we can get in the top 20. We are right now 51, so that's what 31 we have to move up in rank, and if I do enough battles and we win enough operations, we might be able to get in the top 20, though it's far from a sure thing, obviously. But I've learned enough that I don't think I'm going to be making the mistakes that I was making earlier. So yeah, so if you guys can show up, that would be great. Okay, well, I'm going to end this now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for liking the video if you're still watching later on. And of course, I love hearing comments from you, so thanks so much.